Am I a little dog that you come at me with sticks?
I think I'll climb the sycamore tree. Hi, welcome to Archie and Rue. I'm Archie.
And I'm Rue.
And this is Mavis and Mary Kate, the smallest chicken in our flock and one of the largest chickens in our flock. In fact, the top hen of the flock.
Yeah. We called Mavis here Mavis after our great-grandmother Eva Mavis. We also were planning on originally calling her, well, Davis, because we thought it was a rooster, but then it turned out to be a hen, which was rather funny because her father, who we called Davis, we thought he was a hen, but turned out to be a rooster, so we called him Davis instead of Mavis. So you can see it's a little bit confusing, but funny.
And as for, turn your head towards the camera, please. And Mary Kate is named after a character from an old John Wayne movie, a woman with a ferocious temper, and that's why we named her Mary Kate.
Yeah, she also had red hair, which seems to match her Mary Kate's neck.
Why are we showing you these chickens? Well, we thought that we could do a biblical encouragement today that links with their size. Since Mary Kate's flapped off, we're going to talk about her, or rather her biblical counterpart, Zacchaeus, a wee little man with a wee little heart.
Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and a wee little man was he.
Zacchaeus was a greedy, miserable, Scrooge-like miser, a tax collector, and the smallest man in the Bible. He once longed to see Jesus when he had heard of his fame, but he couldn't see through the crowd. So he climbed a sycamore tree. We haven't got one here, but when he climbed up the tree, Jesus saw him and told him to come down, and said to him that he was coming to his house that day. Jesus not only visited Zacchaeus' home, but he also visited his heart, changing Zacchaeus from within. And Zacchaeus, from that day on, was no longer a miserly miser. Maybe you've been like Zacchaeus, a miserly miser. You may have not stolen money, but you might have stolen joy, other people's joy, through your actions and bad attitudes. What steps can you take today to perhaps restore some of these broken relationships that you have broken? By the grace of God, we can be restored to those who we have wronged.
With impenetrable scale armor and a stare that could curdle milk. In the book of 1 Samuel, we meet none other than Goliath the Gittite, the giant from Gath.
Fee, fi, ho, fum!
Goliath was a man of great stature, and to match his big size, he had an enormous ego. For 40 days, he came out to the front of the Philistine camp, who were set in battle array against the Israelite army, and defied them and blasphemed the name of the Lord. It is at this juncture that we then meet a small young man named David, who would become king of Israel. He came against Goliath with a sling and 5 stones, and Goliath, in his enormous ego, laughed and roared at the sight of this young man coming against him. And he said something along the lines of, "Am I a little dog that you have come at me with sticks?" and threatened to sacrifice David's flesh to the beasts of the earth and birds of the air. But David responded with this, that he had come against him in the name of the Lord, and the battle was the Lord's, and through his strength he would defeat Goliath. So Goliath advanced, spear in hand, believing that this would be a quick victory. But then, within the blink of an eye, a stone flew from the sling of David and planted itself smack in Goliath's forehead, and he fell to the ground with a thunderous crash. Perhaps you have giants in your life, and you've been trying to slay them in your own strength. Unfortunately, all the defenses that you have in and of yourself won't be able to stand a chance against those giants. It is only when we come in the name of the Lord that we can have victory over the giants in our lives. Because, as the Word of God says, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but are mighty in pulling down strongholds.
I'm impressed that Mavis has stayed here for the whole video.
Well, she has wanted to quit at a couple points, but I managed to keep her here until now. I think I'll let her go though now. Off you go, Mavis.
Thank you for participating. Thanks for watching today. We hope you've enjoyed this video and that you've gained something from it.
And remember, it is never too late to grow in the person of your heart.
Or cut down your ego.
Yeah. Thank you for watching, God be with you, and goodbye.
God bless.
I did a wave.